Still, numbers don't lie. So I'm going to use Instagram because Instagram is one of the biggest platforms on social media right now, and I'm going to give some examples. On Instagram, Cristiano Ronaldo, footballer, the Portuguese footballer, currently plays in Juventus, has 258 million followers. Now that is unprecedented. That's quarter of a billion people. And let me put it in context. Cristiano Ronaldo can reach quarter of a billion people, and there are only 7 billion, about 7 billion people in the world. That is really huge for one person to reach at the click of a button. That is really huge. Now, not only that, like I said, it's very targeted. We have people like Ariana Grande, we have The Rock, that's Dwayne Johnson, and so many other people. Lionel Messi with 181 million people, Beyonce with 163 million people, Justin Bieber with 161 million people. Over time, these people have been able to amass a following and have make themselves very attractive for brands to try and reach their target audience through them, because they are a channel, and they are not only a channel by means of reach, but also they can pass a particular message leveraging on the person's brand, and the person obviously can influence purchase that way. So some reasons why talent and influencer marketing is effective, and one of the things I said is followership. Most human beings either fall into the category of leaders or followers, but the thing about it is we all follow people at some stage. Even leaders follow certain experts in certain spaces, and so there's a general inclination to follow people concerning certain things. Now, we generally, for those people that we follow for certain reasons, those people, like I said, have the ability to influence our decisions and our perceptions. Another reason why it's very effective is resonance. When brands engage people or influencers or talents, right? It's easy for me to follow those people because those might be people that I resonate with. And when I resonate with those people that they sponsor, then I can also have some kind of resonance or some kind of affinity to people that are supporting those people. What I mean by that is this. I might, for example, be able to resonate with an artist struggle. Let's give, for example, Colin Kaepernick. So if I resonate with his struggle or his cause, for example, Black Lives Matter, right? I would generally be able to be drawn to brands that support that cause, like Nike. That's just an example. Also for problem solving. Now, when people follow, this is very effective because talents and influencers solve people's problems. So obviously, I would generally be pulled to people that can solve my problems, and I would like to be associated with them or take on board their opinion as to how problems can be solved. And then obviously personal equity. Now, everybody has a story and has a brand and where they're coming from. For brands leveraging on people's stories, they're somehow buying into that story and being seen as part of that story. So for example, if there's a Grace to Grass story from an artist and the brand is supporting that artist, there's some in a way leveraging on hope, on tenacity, and on those attributes that are prevalent in the artist's story. Now we're going to talk about creating a talent or influencer strategy. One of the first things to do is to understand and plan the project. And what I mean by that is you need to first understand if you really need to use a talent or an influencer in the first place. And by the way you can do that is to understand the problem again, validate it, and understand if this is what you need to address the situation. Next thing you have to do after that is to carry out research. Now you really have to carry out extensive research on the brand, and what that does is you need to understand the brand, the whole brand's playbook, its positioning, its proposition, where it's coming from, where it's going to, its vision, its brand archetype. Understand the brand thoroughly. If not, you cannot prescribe what the brand needs. You really need to understand the brand, and that you should do with the help of the brand, not just research. Also, research will also help in terms of how people see the brand. So you can do a survey to see the brand health, to get a brand health tracker. A lot of brands do have these things. So if you're liaising with a brand manager, please ask for the brand health trackers or the brand DNA. Now, understanding these brands should be seen as some kind of partnership, and it's not a test. So I always say that if you're working with an agent, with a client, please try and be seen as a partner so they can share some of this information with you if they have it. It will make life easier. Another thing you need to do is understand the consumer. You need to understand the consumer. You can do that by trends, you can do that by surveys, but one of the key ways that people understand the consumers is through their lifestyle and how they operate and how they live. And because we're talking about the key channel, which is also social media and digital, their digital footprints and their social media track records are very important. And so people use tools like social listening tools as a way to determine these things. And of course, their purchases and places they visit as a way to determine these things. The next thing we need to do is the strategy. Now, you need to, after understanding these people and getting insights from surveys and all, we now need to come up with a strategy. And what that means is have an insight. You get an insight from all the data you've collected, and that insight is what you're going to transfer into the type of communication you should be trying to pass, the kind of message you should be trying to pass, the kind of activities you should be trying to carry out. And that's also determine the criteria for the kind of talent or influencer you need to engage. Your insight will determine the kind of communication and action you need to carry out. Now, after that, the next step is to do evaluations and negotiate with this talent. Now, it's very easy for me to just think of somebody I like and recommend the person to a brand, but that's not good enough. It's always best to have certain criteria for selection, and some of this you can create a list, and I will show you as this goes on. To create a list that says what are the brand considerations, what are the business considerations, what are the general considerations, and score these things deliberately one after the other, and that will help you know who you should choose. Then you should also do evaluation. That you might need a professional to do. For example, we have a tool that's called the sponsorship evaluation matrix to let you know if the price for this talent or this influencer is fair. That helps us know. What we do measure with that tool is the tangible benefits and the intangible benefits, and then match that against and put a value to that and match that against to what the person, the talent or influencer is costing or asking for. And that will let you know if it's a fair market price to either beat the price down, or at least to let the client know that, look, this is a good deal. After you've done that, now nobody wants to spend money on a talent or an influencer and not be able to make returns. So you should have a leverage plan. How do I leverage this engagement? What kind of activities, what kind of promotions, what kind of conversations, what kind of appearances do I want this person to make? What kind of adverts do I want this person to do? All those things fall into commercial plan in terms of turning it into sales and leverage in terms of building their brand. And then last but not the least, you now have to have a measurement and evaluation plan, which I will talk about, which is very important to know if you've gotten value for your money and if your campaign was effective. I'll talk about it in the next slide. So measuring the effectiveness of influential strategy, the first thing you need to do in measuring is that you have to have your objectives very clear. You have to clearly set objectives. And the next thing you need to do is agree on the criteria for success. Are you measuring the criteria for success by reach, by interaction, by sales, by conversion? Have specific quantifiable numbers and details for each objective. Then define your tools of measurement. Are you using surveys? Are you using polls? Are you using a software? How are we going to measure? Are you using sales numbers? Have defined measurement criteria and tools. Then of course, you now have to align and say with the objectives, the results with the objectives. And after you, for example, you say, I was meant to sell or reach 1,000 people. I reached 1,500 people. I have exceeded my objective. And then you can also do a cost analysis to see the cost per contact or per sale or per reach, and to say if it cost me 10,000 naira to engage this influencer and I have sold 10,000, it means it cost me 10,000 naira to gain 10,000 products. Cost per contact cost per reach. Those are some things you can use to also determine your efficiency of a marketing product. So in conclusion, what I'm going to tell you this is, I hope you're able to understand what talent sponsorship and influencer marketing is and how it can solve problems. I hope you've had a wide range of understanding of how some other brands have used this in the past. When we've spoken about Nike and Michael Jordan, we've spoken about Adidas and Run DMC, we've spoken about brands like Omega and BMW and James Bond, we've spoken about, in today's terms, Pepsi and Wizkid and Ciroc and Wizkid and the like. And we've also seen, how to measure this engagement. What I will also leave with you is this, as a way of exercise. What we need to do is to think of 5 talents or sponsorship engagements in Nigeria and globally that are similar. Don't list any of the ones I have mentioned, but just try and list them out. Just think about it. Which talent or which influencer has been engaged by which brand, and what have they been asked to do? So just list that out. It's just a way of juggling your mind, and as you go along, you will see a lot of examples, and you understand that when brands engage these people, they are leveraging of their equity, they are leveraging of their experience, of their exposure, of their image. They want to be associated with them, and they want to be able to buy into their story. So that is what that's what talent and influencer marketing is about. Brands being able to buy into their story, to leverage off their affinity and the emotional value that these people have to customers. That is what it's really about. And I hope with this you understand. And my name, like I said, is Victor Barahat. I work with Connect Marketing Services. My email address is victor@connectmarketingonline.com. If you want to reach out to me, or if you need me to explain or get back to me, I will be glad to do that. I hope I've been able to teach you 1 or 2 things. Thank you very much.